Trekcast.
The galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast.
There he is.
Yeah, here we
Yeah.
are. Welcome to Trekcast, everybody, the galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast.
That's
My
right.
name is Scott, and my
And you have
co-host,
risen.
the host, is Daniel Reyes. What's
That's
up,
me.
Daniel?
What's going on, man?
Oh, you know, it's
Yeah.
week after Easter.
That's right.
I'm
Our
ready-
first show since Easter.
Yeah, I am ready to get spring started. I went on my first, not first motorcycle ride yesterday, but the first one that, wasn't because I was doing maintenance or transporting the bike. So just went on a little bike ride. So
The first one for fun.
yeah. Oh, it felt so good. It was
That's
a little
good.
chilly, but
Yeah.
yeah, loved
Yeah.
it. Not the environmental controls on the motorcycle don't work too well. So
I would imagine not.
yeah,
You're just kind of out there.
yeah. And,
What kind of bike do you got?
I've got an 09 Harley Road King.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so big bike.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool,
But-
man.
Yeah, my wife loves riding on the back, and we love going for rides and stuff. So we
Right
got some little trips planned this year. So excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
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 I got friends who ride and they love it. I got one buddy. He'll go down the entire PCH highway in California.
Yeah.
Right against the coast. Yeah, and he does that every year. So
Yeah, that's actually part of our retirement plan. I want to buy a fifth wheel trailer with a toy hauler in the back, and just go all over the country and kind of use it as a main base as we kind of use the motorcycle as a satellite to visit different places.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, PCH is on the list.
Nice.
So-
Yeah, it's very pretty over there.
Yeah. So I've
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah. How's your week been? I know a lot of
Not
chaos.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of chaos. A lot of stuff going on, but like I said, just ready for the spring. Work's going good.
Yeah.
So my son's home from college.
Oh,
and so
nice.
there's a big giant mess in the garage, and so he's home for the summer. So yeah, everything's going good.
Right
How about
on.
you?
Good so far. Let's see. Work has been kind of crazy, but good. I just finished the latest draft of my screenplay, so I've got it out
Nice.
to a few people to read it and tell me how
Nice.
terrible it is.
Oh
And,
yeah, I'm sure. You're just
yeah.
a horrible writer, obviously.
Well, you want to get the flaws, right? You're trying to
That's
pick
true.
it apart. So
Yeah.
yeah. So-
That's true. I mean, if you win everything and get an A on everything, then you're doing something wrong.
yeah, I guess.
I mean, you get, well, like you just said, the
Yeah.
flaws and everything. That's part of the process. So if you're
Right,
perfect,
right.
everything, right out the gate. I mean, the
Yeah.
struggle is part of the process. So
Right,
you know.
right. So, yeah, no, I'm excited about that. And then my big contest is in a couple months, so I'm in good pace to be done in time.
Awesome,
So,
awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about
Good.
that. Yeah. Well,
So is there a way that we're ever going to be able to see or read or watch or anything that you got going on? Is there going to be any
I'm trying
publishing or anything?
to. Yeah. So because of my television background, I've been thinking about, should I try to sell this script or should I try to produce it? So,
Okay.
producing it means I got to go find the funding though. So that's
Right.
another thing.
Right.
So I don't know where I land on that right now. Because you could be
Well-
spending years looking for funding, right?
You could use your vast knowledge of producing this show, and
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's not quite the same, but
no,
yeah. I don't know if we have
Yeah.
any listeners out there that know about this kind of stuff. Hit me up. I have questions. So
or filthy rich listeners that just want to fund
that's right. Yeah, sure.
You never know.
Why
There
not?
might be that one guy that, normally is just sitting away, in the back of one of his 900 rooms, and he listens to Trekcast every week, and he's like, you know what? This is the week. And he gets his checkbook out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
you never
not?
know.
Yeah,
you
you never know. So put it out there. We'll see what happens. But sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we should probably get to the news. I got a few news stories for us. So
Good, because I haven't been really on the internet this week, so I don't know if what's going on.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Let's get to it.
Star Trek news.
All right. So our first news story comes to us from trekmovie.com, and we have an official premiere date for Strange New Worlds Season 3.
Yay.
Kind of. So it will be premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival in June, June 14th to be specific. So they will have a presentation of the Season 3 premiere. But then what? Right? Like, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be on Paramount Plus that day or the next day. It's just
I don't remember them ever doing that.
Like doing it at a film festival?
Yeah, and then on Paramount Plus.
They haven't, but that's not to say they couldn't, right?
No, but I wonder why they're doing it that way.
I don't know. That it's a strange strategy to me.
Like, I wonder what that's a sign of.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, to me, it seems like they want to get more of the casual fans or generate new fans. So that's why they would present it at a So they would put it at a not at a sci-fi convention, right? Or not like at a Star Trek convention, but at a just a typical film festival. But the other thing too is like it's a TV show, not a film, at a film festival.
Right.
That's not what people are focused on. So
that is strange.
Like the Tribeca Film Festival is more about independent films and getting them noticed. And
it's like con.
I don't understand the logic. Hopefully they have a plan, but I don't know.
It's like when I was in the military. It's like there was this chaos going around, and you're like either the leadership is completely insane, or there's this like super smart plan that's all going to coalesce. And
right.
9 times out of 10, it was the leadership was crazy, but
yeah.
Every once in a while, it was like, well, we don't know what's going on, and they have a plan, and it's like, we just have to, have faith in their plan. So I guess we have no choice but to have faith in their plan. So,
right. So, I guess we'll see. But yeah, so for now, June 14th, Tribeca Film Festival. If you want to go see Strange New Worlds first, that's the place to do it. Get yourself to
where is that at? Somewhere in California?
No, Tribeca's in New York. So
New York. Okay.
Yeah. So Dan's got a chance, maybe.
Dan's got a chance.
Yeah.
All right. I will. Yeah. I'll call him after the show and make sure he's got travel arrangements.
Yeah. Don Green, I'm late to join in the stream, but have you guys seen the Strange New Worlds SpongeBob Paramount advert? We've not even brought that up yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah. Have you not seen this thing?
I have.
Yeah, okay, I've seen it.
I think I shared it on the Facebook page.
Yeah. So that is making the rounds too as well. I didn't have it in the news segment, but yes, there's a new advertisement going around right now. It's Strange New Worlds and SpongeBob crossover. You see a bunch of the SpongeBob characters with the Strange New World characters on the Enterprise, and it's all to promote Paramount Plus. The idea being like
strange, all right.
It's definitely strange. Strange. I'm not a SpongeBob guy, so to me it was.
I'm not either. But
yeah.
My kids aren't. I mean, they like everybody is aware of it, but I don't think I've ever seen a single like standalone episode.
Yeah. I get the idea behind it. It's a fun idea. It's more of what they did with the remember the Paramount and Patrick Stewart, and he like threw that kid because he had a football shaped head.
Right, the mountain, Paramount Mountain.
Yeah, the mountain.
A bunch of franchises.
It's just more of those goofy adverts. So
yeah, that's cool. And I think they're going for. I think the demographic is like the younger Star Trek fans.
Yeah,
20s and 30s. Who maybe grew up on SpongeBob, I guess.
Right,
but
it's fine.
Back in my day when I was a Star Trek fan,
right,
in the 1980s, don't mean to sound like old man Star Trek fan, but
That's right. Old man yells at clouds.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So our next news story comes to us from Screen Rant, and Star Trek's Quark names the best actor on Deep Space Nine. And according to this person, they think he's right. So in a recent interview, Armin Shimerman was talking about who he thought the best actor on Deep Space Nine was. Who do you think he thought was the best actor?
Call Meany.
Think Call Meany? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder who the chat thinks he thought was the best actor.
Because Call Meany did subtlety the best.
Okay, that's a good call.
Yeah.
You know, I would have guessed, having not read this, or before I read it, my guess was what's his name? Andy Robinson, Garrick.
Garrick, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been my guess.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But both of us would have been wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. He says that he thought the best acting was Sirach Lofton.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He goes on to say, you have to remember he was a kid back then, and the subtlety that Jake did Sirach did in his acting is right there. It's very subtle, but it's there. And for a kid to pull that off and to have that kind of instincts is pretty amazing.
Sure. I'll give Sirach credit seasons 1 through 3. Maybe into season 4.
Yeah.
But like a lot of child actors, I don't think he didn't have subtlety. I use that word again. In the later seasons.
Yeah.
I thought he was an okay actor. I don't think he was underutilized at all.
Yeah.
There was some performances, the Visitor. I thought he did a really good job. Yeah. The pain and the sorrow and the sadness and the loss. I did think in that episode he did a fantastic job. But for the rest, he didn't really. When he was trying to portray a reporter, he didn't bring any, he didn't make me think that he was passionate about being a reporter,
See, and I think about
or a writer,
the baseball card episode where it's him Nog scheming the whole way through, right?
Face something in the Great River or whatever. No.
Yeah. Okay, I think he did a great job in that episode.
Yep.
I agree. The river will provide, and economic. I forget what it was called.
But for the rest of this, the 1, 2, and 3, or for especially during the Dominion War, when he was trying to pretend to be an adult, when he was just barely an adult, and being a reporter, and I don't know if it was the character, if his character was that naive, then I thought he did a good job, but I don't think his character was written as that naive, and so I think Sirach portrayed him as really, really naive, or Sirach was naive, or was portraying him as naive when he wasn't supposed to. I'm not exactly sure what I'm trying to say, but something always didn't hit me right with his performance.
Yeah. We do have a comment from Instagram. Michael Z, a lot of Z's, wants to know if there's anything to share about any more Star Trek films. Yeah, man, we don't know. And we had mentioned on the show a few weeks ago, when Paramount was at CinemaCon, they did not even mention anything about a new Star Trek movie. So the prospects do not look good so far. So,
yeah. I keep seeing little message boards and online rumors about Star Trek 4.
Everybody's hoping, man.
I mean,
everybody's hoping.
I wish they would shoot that dog right in the head.
What?
Honestly, there's not that I love dogs. Maybe I should have used a different example.
Yeah. Come on, old Yeller. What is going on?
I wish they would have shot that kid. No, let's see. I'm going to shoot myself in the foot, aren't I? No, I wish they would shoot that beast in its head and put it out of its misery for good.
Tell us it's going to be only a TV show.
Yeah, or just like Star Trek, like J.J. Abrams, Star Trek, Chris Pine. I just wish they would all get plastic surgery so they would not look anything like their characters again, and we could bury it, put it to rest.
Waiting game says Dan's gonna show up at Scott's front door for that dog comment.
Okay, this is a cartoon dog that doesn't exist. This is not John Wick dog.
All right, let's get to our next story.
This is Cujo.
Our next story comes to us from Newsweek, and Robert Picardo teases major changes to his character in Star Trek Starfleet Academy. So Robert Picardo is returning in Starfleet Academy to play the Doctor, same character he played on Voyager, and he is saying that there's going to be some major changes.
I'm not going to be the same hologram.
I mean, one is he's older, right? They're probably not going to de-age him,
right? So they're gonna do that thing where they say,
"Yeah,
I decided that since I want to be in front of my colleagues and coworkers, I did not want to appear younger, so I wanted to appear a contemporary to them. So voila, that's how he's going to explain it away.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, it'll be something like that. He says that he still has his humor, but there's more depth to him, which I don't know, man. There was a lot of depth on Voyager with that character. So.
Yeah, and a lot like I said, I'm doing a rewatch of Voyager right now. I'm halfway through season 5, and I've been watching the Delta Flyers too. So I've been listening to Garrett Wang and my good friend Robbie McNeil. As I call him.
Right? Yeah, Robbie. Yes,
Robbie.
Yeah. I'm thinking about the last characters they told us, like, oh, there's some changes. And I think of 7 of 9 in Picard, how different she was from Voyager. And they had warned us ahead of time that 7 was going to be different. So I'm wondering if not like that kind of a shift, but that much of a difference in the Doctor.
I bought the change for 7 of 9.
Okay.
Because it had been so long, it had been 20, 25 years. So obviously she was going to change and grow and become more human and things like that.
Right.
I'll probably buy the change for the Doctor. Hopefully he's got a name, other than Joe. But
Joe Mama.
Well, that in one of the episodes, I believe it was Endgame, when they go to the future, he comes out and says his name is Joe. So,
right.
Yeah. In fact, I just saw the episode Timeless, which is my favorite Voyager episode. That's the one where Voyager crash lands on the ice planet.
Awaiting game says we're still moving forward with Hogwarts in space, huh?
Yes, apparently.
Yes. I can't wait for the digital owls to show up. That you've been accepted to Starfleet Academy.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it. I mean, anything's going to be better than Section 31.
I mean, probably.
So, but
yeah.
And there's no word about when this is coming out, right?
Not yet. So we'll hopefully at some point this year, or, beginning of next, who knows?
Okay.
All right. And then our last news story. Saw this morning. Thought I would share it because it looks like fun. So there is the right now going on in LA area is the Universal Fan Fest, right?
Yeah.
They have these big sets that people can walk through. It's a takeoff of the Universal Horror Film Nights. So now they're doing like a Fan Fest night for other franchises that aren't horror, and Star Trek is part of it. So what I found was on this article from Universal Parks News Today, they have all of the Star Trek merch and its price point.
Okay.
So I thought it would be fun. Would you buy it or not?
All right.
Since we got the prices. So here we go. Let's start with the first one. We have the Star Trek magnet. So there it is. Little Delta
looks like
magnet.
A communicator.
Yeah, it looks like a communicator. You can see it in that person's hand, so it's not that big, and it's $15. Would you buy that?
Yeah, I think so. That looks nice.
Think so?
Yeah.
In fridge magnet, why not? Sure.
fridge magnet. It looks kind of 3D-ish. I mean, it doesn't look like just like a flat, printed. It looks like it's got some depth.
There's some depth to it. Yeah.
So it looks like a comm badge. It looks to be about the size of a comm badge, and it's designed to be a refrigerator magnet.
I think it's definitely supposed to be an impulse buy. Like, well, I don't want to pay for a shirt, but I'll get this for $15.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm down for that.
I dig it.
We also have the visitor's magnet. That's also $15.
Okay, that is the same badge that Picard had to wear when he visited Starfleet Academy in Picard season 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I don't know if you're a big Picard fan, yeah, sure. Just a memento,
Sure.
$15 seems.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I would prefer the Delta Shield more than this one, but whatever.
More people probably would, yeah.
Yeah. We have a blue T-shirt for $30.
Okay, so this is a Starfleet Academy logoed T-shirt.
Right. It's got the triangle on it, that rounded edge triangle.
Yep.
It says Starfleet Academy, Ex Astera, and then I don't know.
Ed Astra, whatever.
It's not Ed Astra. It's X.
Oh, it's not Ed Astra. X.
Yeah, it's EX. Yeah.
It's got the Golden Gate Bridge in the background with the Starfleet.
Yeah, it's a San Francisco. And then it's got the year in Roman numerals. Okay. So $30 for a T-shirt.
I don't think that's
honestly that's not bad for a film, for a theme park souvenir. $30 for a T-shirt.
Right. Yep.
That's
I'll buy one.
Par. Yeah. Okay. The windbreaker jacket. This is $70.
That price does not shock me.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a windbreaker.
Right.
It's for those listening, it's kind of what a beigey light gray kind of.
Yeah, beige gray. Mm-hmm.
You almost cannot tell it's Star Trek except for the small amount of writing on one side. It's got a Star Trek image of a kind. I don't know. What is that?
Can't really tell what that is, but yeah.
Kind of looks like a Borg. No, it's Elcars.
Elcars? Yeah, little Elcars emblem.
Yeah, and it's a Star Trek.
Underneath it might say something about what the event's going on. So
yeah, maybe there's something on the back. I don't know.
If you're in need of a windbreaker, and I see, you got to keep in mind, I'm used to going to Harley stores, so T-shirts are $45, and this windbreaker would easily be $100. So
okay,
so
$70 a deal.
Yeah, I'm not getting sticker shock here.
Okay, but would you get that? Is that something you would wear?
If I was in the market, if I wore windbreakers, which I don't.
I don't either.
I could see myself getting a $70 windbreaker.
Okay,
but if I was that's the only thing I'm getting, I'm going to splurge. I'm in the mood. I've got that in my discretionary funds. Yeah, but
yeah. Okay. Let's see. Next one. A $25 journal. It's one of these moleskin type journals. It's got a really big Enterprise on the front. It says "Go boldly." There's some color to it, some red and blue and black imagery. It's got one of those
barely fits in your hand.
Yeah, barely fits in your hand.
That big.
It's $25 for a journal, though.
Yeah, that seems a little high.
Steep.
That
at 15, I think that would be high.
Yeah, I was gonna say that looks like a $15 item. Now, if it was a Discovery one, I would buy it and then I would send it.
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah,
if it was a Michael Burnham one, I'd probably spend $40 on it.
That's right.
And express ship it to Dan.
You want Michael Burnham's crying journal.
That's right.
Yep. Yes. I'm gonna pass on this $25 journal. Let's see.
You know what I just did? You're moving the cursor around, and I'm looking at it on screen, and I thought it was a bug.
This? Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we have this chocolate specimen it's a SETI eel, but solid chocolate. They don't have a price tag on it.
Don't care what it costs. I'll buy it.
Yeah, it looks delicious. So now we've got the Chateau Picard. Oh, I can click on these. Great. Chateau Picard water bottle.
That's kind of cool.
It's $30. It's one of those
looks like a metal one.
Bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look that big. I'm gonna guess maybe 20 ounces at most.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. But yeah, $30.
That's cool. Yeah.
I mean, that's right about what those things cost. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Quark's glasses. There it is. It's a Quark's glass. It's $20. It's just like a beer pint glass.
That's pricey.
Sure. For that, yeah. For that,
because
yeah.
I would like a set of 4, and I would like to pay $40
maybe.
For a set of
Yeah.
4, $50 for a set of 4. Because one glass, whatever. I've got a Quark's, like a small Quark's glass, but
yeah, I've got one too somewhere.
Well, a friend of mine, Amy, she had one of those monthly subscriptions where they send you like a cool box every month.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the months was a Star Trek box. And so she's like, "Oh, I know a guy that likes Star Trek." So she gave me this box, and it had like it had a T-shirt and like a T-shirt with the Enterprise D on it that I wear on the show sometimes.
Right.
It had a Quark's bar coasters, like 4 rubber coasters. It had a like a little shot glass and a small little glass that had Quark's bar on it. It was really cool.
Yeah. All right. And then is that okay? Yeah, this will be the last one. The Tribble keychain. This thing is $18.
That's a bit pricey for that.
Yeah,
that's a $10 item all day long.
Yeah. 18 seems kind of high for it. It is just a giant Tribble with a keychain on it. There's also a key, like a little, I don't know, tag that's got Kirk on it, like kind of cartoonish.
Cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah. Awaiting game says would buy.
Yeah, we've got like one regular size Tribble, and my wife's got a couple of keychain size Tribbles. Yeah. Starfleet International sells them. They adopt, quote unquote, adopt Tribbles out, and you pay like $3 for them, and that goes towards the Starfleet International. So we've got a couple of those.
You know what I would use this for? There's a
put in your coffee with your chicken sandwich.
No. There's a travel not a hack, but like a tip, right? And one of the things is put keychains on your luggage on the stuff you check in. So then that way when they're coming out of the chute at the airport, you can instantly pick yours out, and you're not like, oh, is that one mine? Is that one mine? But you know it by the keychains, right? The ones you put on.
Right.
Yeah, so it's easy to spot.
That would just be awkward if you and like another Star Trek fan awkwardly grab for the same bag.
Yeah, but at least you're not dealing with so many people. It's just one other person,
right? No, I get it.
Yeah, but yeah, so like I've got a couple of luggage tags on mine that I can easily spot my stuff. So like the Tribble would be a fun one for something like that.
Speaking of luggage, you want to see airport confusion? Try having 50 soldiers looking for the exact same duffel bag.
Oh God!
on the carousel.
That's got to be
pandemonium.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, everybody's like, oh, I'm going to be different because I'm going to put reflective tape around the duffel bag. Well, guess what? Everybody
does. Yeah. Don't they just write their names real big on the duffel bag?
Yeah, but everybody's name is written in black marker in the exact same spot.
Okay. So, yeah. Fair enough. All right. Well, that's some of the stuff. There's more on there. Well, I'll put the whole list in the show notes. People want to check it out. But yeah, I think they got some cool stuff at that fan nights. Looks like fun to me. Yeah. All right.
Oh, apparently in the chat, my mom said hi.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Scott's mom. All right. Well, let's get to our main topic.
Let's do it.
Fun will now commence.
All right. So our main topic is we are reviewing Star Trek III: The Search for Spock, since we are continuing our review of the TOS films.
Absolutely. Yes. He is
movie,
risen.
Yes, he is risen. Spock has returned to us after dying in Wrath of Khan. This film is from 1984, directed by Harve Bennett. So yeah, that's pretty quick, right? Because Wrath of Khan was 82.
This was this was directed by Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, was it? Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Produced by Harve Bennett.
Writers, Harve Bennett wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and Leonard Nimoy directed it. Yeah. What?
Time to get serious. Put the glasses.
Yes,
on.
put on the glasses. Serious time. Serious time. So let's see what happened in this film. Basically, we're dealing with the aftermath of Spock's death. Right. Everyone seems depressed. The Enterprise is back at space dock, and Kirk finds out that the Enterprise is basically done. It's going to be mothballed, and
she's going to be
Kirk
decommissioned.
Yes, and Kirk wants to go back to the Genesis planet. What was the reasoning? I forgot. Like, what was?
Well, he got a visit from Sarek.
Okay, yes, that's right.
He got a visit from Sarek, and Sarek's like, I want to talk to you. Why did you abandon Spock? I mean,
right.
Sarek's got it in his head that he knows what happened. He knows that Spock, sacrificed himself for the ship. But he's like, I know that you were the last one to talk to him. I know he would have mind melded with you and given you his katra. Why did you abandon him? And Kirk's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And then Sarek's like, bull crap. Let me, come here and let me mind meld with you. And that's when Sarek realizes, oh. And then Sarek tells him he must have mind melded with somebody. And that's when he checks out the security footage, realizes that he mind melded with McCoy. And that's when Sarek says, you have to go find Spock if there's a Spock to be found and bring him and McCoy back to Vulcan.
Right.
So
that's
kind of where it starts. Yeah, that's why he has to get there. And at first I was confused because I'm like, well, why doesn't he just, rent, take an Uber with McCoy and just take an Uber to Vulcan? No, he can't do that. He's got to get to the Genesis planet, to the Matara sector.
Right. And then the Genesis planet has been kind of like cordoned off because they're still researching it. So even if you charted something, you couldn't go there.
You could, right.
So
because McCoy tried to.
Right.
McCoy Spock tried to.
Right. And just it wasn't working. And then we also have got our villain kind of lurking, Christopher. Oh God, I forgot his last name.
Christopher Lloyd. I loved him in this. He was Kruge and he was just as much Christopher Lloyd as he was Kruge, and I didn't have a problem with it at all.
Yes,
that was the evil Klingon Doc Brown, and I loved every second of it.
It was great.
Every line that came out of his mouth was gold.
A waiting game says, in this movie, do we get our first actual visual representation of a Targ? I think so.
That was in my notes. Yeah, I think it was the first time we see a Targ. We've seen other dog-like things that weren't Klingon Targs in the original series. Where they took like a Pomeranian and glued a piece of paper mache on his forehead. But
put a horn on it.
Yeah, and I thought this was nasty. I love the Targ. I mean, and the Targ, I did a little deep dive. The Targ is something that the Klingons, they have for pets. They hunt. They eat. Heart of Targ and stuff like this. So it's a very versatile Klingon animal.
That's right. So the Klingons are interested in the Genesis device because they think it can be a weapon of war, and they're looking for it, right? He even has the Klingons have this ship that can shoot while cloaked, right? That's the big scary thing about it.
No. In fact, Kirk surmises that it can't shoot until cloaked. That doesn't come until the Undiscovered Country.
Okay.
And people in the chat, Google me right or Google me wrong, but
right.
So they're looking for it, and they've also got there's a like a mercenary or some kind of cargo ship that rendezvous with the Klingon bird of prey, and they've got some information on Genesis. They're the ones that have like the classified information, have smuggled it somehow, and there's a Klingon representative on board. I don't remember her name, but she's got a Klingon boob window. I remember that.
That's right.
So she's telling her master, Doc Brown, you're going to find it very useful. And he goes, so you've seen it? And she's like, yes, I have, my lord. He's like, unfortunate. And she's like, I understand. And then he goes and destroys the mercenary ship.
Right.
I'm like,
right.
That's odd. Why didn't you just? And he says, good luck, my love.
Yes.
Why didn't you just beam her aboard and then destroy the ship? Like,
because it's unfortunate.
Her having knowledge of it. I just don't understand Klingons. That must be it. So
There's he's got a few logic gaps in this movie.
Just a few. So he's got the information on Genesis, and he wants to go. He wants more information on Genesis.
Right.
And so we cut back to Starfleet, and Kirk is trying to get a ship. He's like, well, when is the Enterprise going to be ready? When can we take that out? I want to take Spock's brain that's inside of McCoy. And the Admiralty basically shuts him down. Says, nope, the ship's in
That's
mothballs.
Inside of a McCoy.
Yeah, that's inside of a McCoy.
That's right.
and so he tells Kirk no, and Kirk's like, all right, cool. And he's like, the rest of the crew's like, so what did they say? He said, no, we're therefore going anyways.
That's right.
So
That's right.
they hatch a plan. They go and kidnap Dr. McCoy, and they hatch a plan to steal the Enterprise. And that's when we have, those are the series of events that kicks off. Basically everybody is going to get court-martialed at the end of the next movie. But so all the crew basically get on the Enterprise except for Uhura, and they steal the Enterprise. There's a cool, space dock scene, and then they're able to escape the space dock and escape the Excelsior, because Scotty sabotaged the Excelsior.
That's right.
And they head off. They head off with the Spockified McCoy and rest of the crew except for Uhura to the Genesis planet.
Yeah, basically, Spock's spirit is in McCoy, but his body is on Genesis. So they need to merge.
They don't know that at the time, and they don't know how that's possible.
They don't know that. Yeah.
So,
but that's basically what's going on.
While all this is going on, we've got an O-berth class starship that has Dr. David Marcus, Discount Kirstie Alley, and
that's right.
Right. I actually like the Savick. I like her better than Kirstie Alley's Savick. Most people don't agree with me, but I like the way she was portrayed in this. So they're on this O-berth class ship. I think it's called the Grissom, and they are actually studying the Genesis planet.
Right.
And so they detect a life form. They detect Spock's burial photon torpedo casing. They beam down, and they know there's a life form there. It's David and Lieutenant Savick. They beam down, and they find Spock, a young version of Spock, like a 7-year-old version of Spock.
But they also find like little bugs near the coffin.
Right.
And they say like, oh, this is like life beginning to evolve. Which is kind of weird.
Well, so it's like the Genesis effect is rapidly aging things or rapidly making things evolve. So by the time they get there, these tiny microbes have evolved into, like lollipop-sized, nummy-licious looking little bite-sized morsels. And then by the time the Klingons get there, it's a giant, like, snake, evil slug thing. So, I'm sorry. Did you want me to continue with the synopsis, or do you want to?
No. That's fine. Yeah, you're doing good.
Okay. So it's just fresh in my mind, and unfortunately, at the same time that the Grissom is there, the bird of prey shows up, And Kruge says, target their engines. And so the bird of prey fires on the Grissom and destroys it. So now it's the three of them on the planet stranded. It's young Spock, Savick, and David Marcus. And now the crew from the bird of prey beam down, and they end up finding Spock. And about this time, the Enterprise shows up, and so let's talk about. I guess we can talk about Spock and Savick and what's going on there. What was your take on everything that was going on?
So it was weird to me that's. I mean, I get it. Spock didn't have his consciousness, so he didn't know who he was. He was just like a blank slate on the planet, right? So that made sense. It was an interesting way to go about it. I think you could have gone a little bit more in depth about how this was an unexpected development in the Genesis device, right?
Right.
I don't think that's
another thing they talked about too.
Yeah, but it's real quick, right? It's nothing they really linger on.
Right. They talked about that David had to use proto matter, which is unstable, and that's why the planet's falling apart. And kind of
so like the fact that they just kind of mention it and rush through that, like they're not as impressed with it. So okay, I guess, but it seems like something that should have been a bigger deal.
Well, Savick kind of calls David out, like, this is all your fault because you used a shortcut, used a cheat,
Yes.
And he's like, that was the only way we could do it. It was the only thing that would solve certain issues. But that because he used that. Now, see, here's the thing too. They did not use the Genesis device as it was intended. They didn't use it on a planet. This planet was birthed from the nebula, as far as I can tell.
Wasn't it like an asteroid that they shot at? And then turned it into a planet?
It
like
blew
that?
up from it was inside the ship when it blew up. It was inside the Miranda class ship.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Khan blew it up there, and he was inside the Mizar Nebula. It didn't hit like a moon or a lifeless rock the way it was supposed to. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but
a waiting game has a question. Since Spock goes through Ponfar on this planet and Savick helps him out, does that mean Spock might have a kid somewhere?
I wanted to bring this up. Because that's something that's floating around on the internet. So Vulcans go through Ponfar once every 7 years after they reach adulthood. Now, what's adulthood for a Vulcan? My guess is puberty. So I'm guessing there's a time jump for on IMDb. It says Spock at 7, Spock at 14, Spock at 17. So Spock could be going through Ponfar like 14 or 17.
Yeah, I'm guessing 17.
I don't know what the Vulcan age of consent is, but I've also heard that if you go through Ponfar and you don't mate, you die. So if you're Savick and you know that Spock is, let's say he's 18, and he's going through Ponfar, and you know that if he doesn't mate, he will die. You have a duty and an obligation to. You have a choice: either let Spock die or mate with him.
Right.
We never really see Savick after this. I mean, a little bit in Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
So it stands to reason that there could be a little Spock baby running around somewhere.
There could be.
And based on the timeline, that Spock baby could very well exist in the Star Trek Picard timeline. So maybe they'll do something with that someday.
Oh, wait. Mate or I will die. That's extremely convenient. Yeah.
I'm sure that's a line that would have worked at the Star Trek Experience Quark's bar.
I'm sure people have tried it.
So let's see. Kirk is on the Enterprise. The Enterprise and the Klingon bird of prey. Now, the Doc Brown says the Enterprise outguns us 10-1. So the Enterprise is a much bigger warship. However, the Enterprise limped out of space dock to begin with, so the Enterprise is down. The Klingon bird of prey, they've had a little battle.
Right.
So they're both sort of, sitting dead in the water. And the Klingons have taken Spock, Marcus, and Savick prisoner.
That's right.
And to sort of say, and Kruge, Commander Kruge, Doc Brown tells Kirk, I want everything you have on Genesis. I want the Genesis device. I want the torpedo. I want everything. And if you don't, then I'm going to kill people. And to demonstrate his resolve, he tells his Klingon posse down on the planet, kill one of them. And so one of the Klingons breaks out a detang, my favorite Star Trek weapon. And just before he's about to stab one of them, David turns around and fights him. And in the ensuing chaos, he ends up getting stabbed and killed. That's when Savick
we murder Spock or Kirk's son. Yeah.
So he goes, David is dead. And that's when Kirk, he does that scene where he kind of trips backward and falls down on the floor. And it's gut wrenching. I mean, he just found out he found out he had a son, and now he just found out his son has been killed. And that, it's not like Kirk loved Klingons before, but he's really not a fan now.
No, not anymore. No.
So that's when they realized that, so the planet's about ready to be destroyed because it's, David used protomatter. The Klingons have the upper hand. The Enterprise is kind of out for the count. The commander's using the two remaining hostages as leverage. Either give me what I want, prepare to be boarded, or I'm going to kill your crew. And so Kirk comes up with a plan. He's got to get over his grief in about 60 seconds.
Right.
And he comes up with a plan. And so what he does is he tells the Klingon crew, you can beam over, you can have the ship, you can have everything, just save, everybody on the surface. And so they beam over the boarding party, the Klingon boarding party beams over to the Enterprise. And that's when Kirk beams to the planet.
Right. And they had set the self-destruct.
Right. They had set the self-destruct. Kirk and crew beamed to the planet while allowing the Klingons to beam to the Enterprise. They have set the self-destruct. And they get to the bridge just as the computer's counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's when the original Enterprise, the one from the original series in Star Trek 1, 2, and this movie, you see it explode. And the crew of the Enterprise are on Genesis, and they watch it streak across the sky, destroying itself. And, I'm not a huge original series fan. I'm not a huge fan of Star Trek, the motion picture,
Right.
But it's Waiting Game just said this moment is one of all-time best Kirk moments. This Enterprise doesn't mean a whole lot to me, but I felt something. And he has this line. He look, he's next to McCoy, and he says, "My God bones, what have I done?" And McCoy says, "What you had to do, what you always do, turn death into a fighting chance to live." Man, every time I hear that line, it gets me right here in the old blood pumper, And so the Enterprise is destroyed. Commander Kruge beams down. He beams the crew of the Enterprise up to the Klingon ship as prisoners, and so it's just Spock. No, it's just Spock, Kruge, and Kirk, and the planet is blowing up, and there's earthquakes and everything. And he says, "Hey, you should beam up, the kid too." And Kruge is like, "No," and Kirk's like, "Why?" And Kruge's like, "Because you wish it."
Because you wish it.
And because I'm a dick and I don't like you. And so Kirk and the commander have a fight, and Kruge falls off a cliff and is holding on, and Kirk, in a kind of a weird, he's like, "Give me your hand." He's gonna save him, and Kruge grabs him by the ankle, and finally Kirk's just like, he's had enough of him, and that's what he says as he boots him right in the face. He's like, "I, boom, have had, boom, enough of you." And so he grabs Spock, he grabs the Klingon communicator, and he remembers the phrase the Klingon phrase that Kruge had used to beam the crew back up. And so he operates a communicator, says the same phrase, and the Klingon transporter operator buys it, beam them up, and they take the Klingons by surprise. And I don't know, do you want to talk about what happened there too? Like,
no, go ahead.
I've been doing a lot of talking. So.
Yeah. I just, it's been like a week and a half since I've seen the movie, so I'm like, yeah, that happened.
All right, so now the planet's about to explode, and now the crew have overtaken I think there's like one Klingon that's left. And it's John Larroquette. It's actually John Larroquette. That plays that Klingon. And Kirk's like, help us or die. And John Larroquette's like, I do not deserve to live. And Kirk's like, fine, I'll kill you later. And so they're trying to figure out how to operate this Klingon ship, this bird of prey. And they manage to escape just in the nick of time. They fly to Vulcan, and they
save Spock.
They asked the High Priestess, we want to put his brain back in his head. And she's like, all right, cool. She does like a double Klingon or a double Vulcan mind probe thingy, and the mind meld works, and Spock is like, all right, here you go. And
and at first
set up for Star Trek 4.
Spock's even like, he's not quite himself yet, but you can see that he's going to be. Right? It's not instant.
It's not instant.
So, he thanks Kirk for helping him kind of in his way. He doesn't like
he looks at him and he goes, you can kind of see the memory coming back to him, and he looks at him and goes, ship out of danger. He's like, yeah, you saved the ship. And then he starts to walk away, and he turns back around and he goes, Jim, your name is Jim. And so you can tell that he's sort of
it's coming back to him. It's coming back to him.
So now it's the whole crew. Uhura has rejoined everybody on Vulcan. It's the whole crew. And they've got the Klingon bird of prey, and that sets everything up for the final of what most people consider a trilogy of movies. That's right.
So according to Rotten Tomatoes, this got a 78% with the critics, 70% with the audience. It is considered one of, not the worst, but it's not considered top tier. So I'm surprised by the scores, honestly.
Yeah, I actually really like this film.
Yeah. Okay.
I did not lump this in with the the odd numbered movies being bad.
Yeah.
This is nowhere. This is not Star Trek 5.
Yeah.
This is nowhere near as bad as Star Trek 5.
Right.
Or Star Trek 1. I thought it was a good film. I thought, okay, that's the note that I had taken.
Yeah.
You know what I really liked about this movie?
What's that?
The pacing. I love the pacing of this movie, because even in Star Trek 1, obviously you're like, okay, what time is it? How long is this going to be? Even in Star Trek 2, there is some long lulls between action or between important dialogue or plot points. In this movie, I don't remember looking at my phone. Like, I just watched the movie and sometimes when you rewatch a movie for the umpteenth time, you're like, oh, when is this part going to happen? I didn't feel myself thinking that. I thought the pacing of this movie was really, really good. And I think that's a testament to Leonard Nimoy directing.
Yeah, I think he did a good job directing. I think the movie, for what it is, I think is fine. I did get in my head what I would have done, and now I'm like, I want to see that.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, okay. So my idea of watching this movie, I think you had an opportunity that you could not, that they didn't take, that I think would have not necessarily better, but different, right?
Okay.
I think what you could have done is that the Klingons pick up Spock on the planet first, right? Like that's maybe your opening. And Spock is just a child, but he's with the Klingons, and the Klingons don't know what to make of him, right? And they're trying to figure out, what is this child doing on this planet by himself? It appears to be out of nowhere. They find the the Federation pod, and they're like, what is this? Is this like some sort of experiment? And they're trying to get out of Spock, like, are you a weapon? What is going on? Why on this isolated planet are they doing this? They're just trying to figure it out, right? But what they notice is Spock is growing exponentially, right?
Sure.
He's raising, and so now they're like, oh, if he's growing this fast, maybe they've got a weapon and we can turn warriors much faster, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, so like they're interested in Spock, right? So they're trying to get him to explain everything, but he will not, because he doesn't know. He's just a blank slate.
Right.
So you accelerate the timeline, like maybe a month later, he's now a full-grown adult, right? And because he's Vulcan, but he's raised Klingons, he is a brutal tactician. He's just logical. He is not, compassionate. He's just obsessed with winning, and that's all he wants to do, right? So you do everything else with Sarek. Hey, where's my son? What's going on? And meanwhile, there is word that the Klingons have this new general who's just a brutally efficient killer, and he's out there, and he's searching for something from the Federation. He wants the Genesis device, right? They don't know what it is yet, but that's what he wants. And so you do this thing with Kirk. Kirk still thinks, oh, I got to go save my friend, right? He doesn't know it. He doesn't care about anything. He hears about the problem, and he's like, yeah, good luck with that. I got to go find my friend,
right?
Because that's kind of where he's at. And so they give him a ship. They don't give him the best ship, but they're like, here, go find your friend. We got too much else to deal with other than your nonsense. So here you go. So he goes with his crew, and he goes looking for it, and they run into the Klingon bird of prey, and they get attacked. And it is just not only do they does Spock running this bird of prey take down Kirk, but he can anticipate what Kirk is about to do. And Kirk is like, what the hell? Like, this guy knows my tricks? What? Right? And then that's when he comes on the viewer and you see Spock. But you see Spock in the Klingon,
all the garb
outfit.
and everything.
Yeah. And he's the leader, and he's just brutally efficient. And he's like, you will tell us about the device. You will explain to us what's going on. We want it. Like, just being a Klingon, right? And so it is basically Kirk versus Spock. And you have what's better, right? Instinct and experience versus just brutal logic.
Right.
And you have that dynamic, right? You even do where Spock ends up killing David. So now it's Kirk is like, oh my God, do I save my friend or do I kill the guy who killed my son? Right? Because you still have Contra within Bones.
Right.
So his friend is there, right? But dude killed his son, right? So like, what do you do? Right? Yeah. And so eventually it gets down to a big fight, and Kirk is going to kill Spock because that's it. He's had it. He's about to kill him, and Bones is like, please don't. But he says it like in a Spock style of doing it.
Right.
And he remembers his friend. They go to Vulcan. They save him. They reunite him. But now Kirk can never see Spock the same way. Because their friendship is damaged, right? And here's the other thing. Spock remembers everything he did. It's not like he just went away.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would have done.
Let me tell you what my thoughts were as you were describing this.
Yeah.
I stopped picturing William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy.
Okay.
And I started picturing Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto.
Oh, yeah.
Because in my mind, you just wrote Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
In my mind, you just wrote Star Trek 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Like at the very beginning of the movie, Spock dies somehow. And then the rest of the picture is exactly as you described with the JJ crew.
Right.
I mean, that's, to me, that's, but yeah, that idea would have brought so much more everything. I like
Slightly?
it. I like it.
Slightly, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
I thought it was good, but you know, I'm
I
biased.
I,
so,
I think it's good too. So
yeah,
I'm curious to hear what everybody's thoughts in the comments and
yeah. I'm
just,
curious.
Facebook and
Maybe
all
people
that.
will be like, "No, that's terrible. Why would you do such a thing? Put
That's
Paddington in
fine.
there."
Exactly. So yeah,
Yeah,
go to the Facebook page, the Facebook group Trekcast, and put in what you think about Daniel's idea and what your ideas would have been, and we want to see some
yeah.
memes too. I want to see some of the memes.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So
but yeah, so that was my idea, and then when that didn't happen, now I'm like, damn it. So,
there are a ton of trivia items in the IMDb. I just wanted to go over a couple of them real quick.
oh, waiting game. I think it was genius. I wish that movie existed.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
We all know that Kirstie Alley didn't come back. There's a long-winded explanation. Basically, they couldn't afford her.
Right.
She thought her crap was pretty good by then. I didn't notice this at first, but in the opening credits, there is a 6-second long pause between William Shatner and DeForest Kelley's name.
Mm-hmm.
When normally there would only be a 1-second pause. Like for the rest of the names, there was a 1-second pause. That was because that space would have been where Leonard Nimoy's name was.
Okay.
And I thought that was a really cool kind of thing that they did.
Yeah.
So we talked again about Robin Curtis, who portrayed Savick. I liked her. I thought she did a good job. She'll have a bit part in the next movie, and then she'll also be in a couple of fan made productions. So,
oh, that's right. Yeah, she was in a few of them.
So good film. A lot of, like I said, I didn't watch a lot of the special. I didn't have time to watch a lot of the special features, and there are a ton of special features and behind the scenes for this movie, especially their decision to destroy the Enterprise. You know, because that was kind of a big deal.
Right. Yeah, that was a big deal back then.
Yep. So that was the original. You know, that's the original Enterprise from the original series 5-year mission. So good film. I liked it.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was all right, but then I came up with mine, and then I was pissed. So
I like yours better.
Yeah.
In my head canon, that is going to be like an alternate quantum universe version of what happened.
A waiting game. They recast Savick in the Voyage Home, right?
Same. It's the same actress as this movie.
Yeah, it's the same one.
So she has a little bit part where she has a little conversation with Captain Kirk in Voyage Home about telling Kirk how David died and how brave he was.
Right. Yeah.
But didn't mention anything about being pregnant.
No.
Which in my head canon, she definitely is pregnant.
Oh yeah, that's Spock's baby mama.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, let's. We should probably.
Oh, you know what I just thought?
Yeah. What's that?
I'm trying to think of the timeline and the ages, but if he ever had a bit part in like a Legacy or something like that, Adam Nimoy could portray Spock's son in like I think the ages would line up about right. Vulcan being half, he'd be about 110. Adam Nimoy being, I don't know, 60, 55, whatever, 60.
Yeah, something like that.
I think the ages would line up about right if he were to have like a cameo as Savick and Spock's son.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I'll give you that one for free, Paramount.
There you go. I mean, yeah, that would be cool. I guess you could do that in Strange New Worlds.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
If they were in the future or something, because or
Spock left to get cigarettes on Risa and never came home. I mean, Star Trek does have a long, proud tradition of bad dads.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, in Spock's defense, the homeworld where Savick got pregnant on doesn't exist anymore. So
right. Fair enough. All right. Well, we should probably get to listener feedback. So,
Yep.
Let's get to that.
Listener feedback.
And remember, let's tell all the ways that listeners can feed back. They can call into the show. If you want to bring that up.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now.
I was going to say, I got you on the spot right here.
Yeah,
if you want to call into the show and leave us a voicemail, and you can say anything you want to. This isn't somebody's number. Nobody's going to pick up. It's go straight to voicemail. So you can just tell us your thoughts about the show or whatever we're reviewing, anything Star Trek or how life is going. Just call 570-661-0001. Operators are not standing by, so just leave us a message and tell us what your thoughts are.
That's right.
And then you can email the show at trekcasttng@gmail.com. You can email me personally at strongbeard1701@gmail.com. You can also follow us and comment on our Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
right on. And then Jasmus has already clicked the link, so he's already there.
Okay.
Let me bring him in. There he is. Oh, yeah. Hey.
He's ready to go.
Apparently so.
What's up, Chaz Biz?
Well, I saw this. I didn't see the X up, and then I saw the StreamYard. That's funny.
That's funny. So, did you watch the movie or?
Yeah,
remember it?
I watched it 2 weeks ago. So
okay, yeah,
it's one of those things. Like, now what happened? Oh yeah, Christopher Lloyd grabs the penis monster and squeezes
That's
it.
right.
The
first thing he does, he's on the planet, sees the monster, and just like.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he looks at it, picks it up, it tries to strangle him. He squeezes it and kills it and drops it and makes a point to call his ship and say, "Nothing going on here."
Yep.
I'm like, that is the most Klingon thing that he could have done.
Yes. Did you like the movie?
I did. I thought it's not my favorite one, but I still liked it.
Yeah, it's not my favorite one, but it's all right.
It's one of those things. If they had a bigger budget at that bar scene at the beginning, because it looked like it had wood paneling and it looked like everything 1983 or 4. When the
you didn't like the grid line 1942 airplane dogfight video game.
Yeah. It's such a cheesy bar, but when they when
it reminded me of a cantina from Star Wars.
Yeah,
well, they were trying to replicate it, but they poorly executed it.
Yeah.
For a movie, it looked really cheap.
Yeah.
Like, you guys could have spent a little bit more time on this thing.
Right.
Just to clean it up, make it a cool, make more aliens.
Well, and in that scene, I was confused. They could have cast an actor that played the security officer that caught McCoy that didn't look exactly like the admiral that Kirk talked to.
Yeah,
I mean, they had the same inflections and tones and things like that, and I'm like, that could have been his brother.
Yeah,
right.
And then when they steal the ship, of course, I like that part, is you have this brand new ship that's supposed to outpace them, and then Scotty steals the parts on it. So
yeah, that was confusing. That space dock. I did enjoy the space dock scene when they were coming.
Space dock was amazing.
Yeah, when they were coming into, not when they were not when they were stealing the Enterprise, but when they were coming into, and everybody saw all the battle damage. And there was a cameo by Grace Lee Whitney as Yeoman Rand. She's the one that looks at it and just goes, "Wow, look at all that damage." So she had a little cameo there, but yeah, I was a little confused about the captain of the Excelsior. Goes, if he tries to get away at warp, he's in for a surprise.
They had transwarp, they could go faster.
Did he say that because the order before that was lock onto a tractor beam? I thought he was going to be surprised.
Oh yeah,
lock onto a tractor beam.
Because they mentioned the transwarp thing, right? Is that what you're talking about?
They did mention the transwarp thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, who knows what that means?
Yeah. They never really brought it back.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you hear the ship like
what I've read is that
the
Excelsior itself was a great success, like the most successful starship design in Starfleet history.
Oh, okay.
But the transwarp part just it was unreliable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until Voyager used it to go to warp 10 and
right.
Janeway made.
Well, maybe it's like
those are babies. So.
Maybe it's like the spore drive, right? It wasn't a technology they could use, so they mothballed it.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe they made lizard babies, and then they're like,
That's right.
we can't do that anymore.
That's why it's so successful. Those lizards know what's up.
Yeah. It was like, we just screwed up with the Genesis. We can't have lizard babies now.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
Yeah, the Excelsior coming to a halt, it said, the computer said maximum transwarp velocity in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you hear the engine sputter, like,
yeah.
Oh, and now Kirk had a beautiful perm on here.
Yes, he did.
It had a little puff to it.
Yeah,
hair was on. Yep, he had definitely gone to the stylist before he did that boat.
As he used to say, on fleek.
Yeah,
his hair was on fleek.
It was on fleet.
No, on fleek.
Veritable fountain of good ideas today, Daniel.
So as you guys were talking, I was thinking about like, oh man, what you would have done with the sequel in my theoretical film, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought like, well, so you would have to have Spock and Kirk trying to reestablish their relationship in the follow-up film, right? Because right now, Kirk doesn't trust him at all, right? Or doesn't want anything to do with him. But also, how do you forgive your friend when he basically has no emotions after killing your son?
Right, right.
Well, that's when you do the voyage home, and then they have to get together. And
you give him a wacky adventure.
And that's his way out.
Yeah.
And it's like you kind of form that bond again.
Right.
Because Earth's in peril. They're going to lose Earth. And then you got to save the whales.
Right. You got to save the whales.
And be on LDS. So.
Yeah.
All
right.
But it was, this one was fun for third movie. And plus was Leonard Nimoy's, it was his first directorial debut. Was that?
I think so. Yeah.
Directed?
He had directed like
TV shows or something.
And like Broadway stuff or whatever. Not Broadway, but
still. What was the box office on this?
That is
I don't know.
Question.
Because I know Voyage Home made like 120, 130 million worldwide.
I'm pulling up Box Office Mojo right now.
Okay.
Domestically, it made 76 million.
Okay.
Worldwide, it made 80,000.
That's pretty bad worldwide.
I mean, that's what it says. So
it might not have had a. Well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it was Leonard Nimoy's directorial debut. He had done stage and television, including an episode of T.J. Hooker.
Yeah,
for his buddy William Shatner. A lot of Klingon dialogue in this.
It's awesome.
Mark Okrand actually took. He was the one that wrote the Klingon English dictionary. He took dialogue from previous movies and TV shows. Most of which was made up by James Doohan, and extrapolated from that and kind of created a language and language laws and rules for the Klingon language.
So I just looked it up. The Search for Spock had a budget of 17 million and a box office of 76.4 million. So made money.
Yeah,
definitely made money.
Well, it just shows you that they didn't have to spend $13 million on an actor.
Right. Well, you didn't back then either. So yeah.
And it's kind of like when you look at Section 31 movie, how much they spent on that was outrageous.
Well, and your cost bases are different nowadays.
Everything's.
But the thing is, it's like
different.
when you're spending about 120 million on a TV,
Right.
TV movie, that's a lot of money.
What is it, like an episode of Discovery was like, I think, $8 million an episode?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what they're saying is the budgets have gotten out of hand lately.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's
and you're
they
not
need to
getting
come back down.
advertising money to recoup it. You're
Right.
relying on subscription base. So
Well, you kind of are now. Like Paramount Plus has got an ad level, right? So you can
the ad level.
watch shows, but all you're doing is recreating TV again.
So is there any news on the Skydance buyout?
No, we're still just waiting on lawsuits to finish through.
Yeah,
I know that they've got their they're working with the Trump administration right now. Apparently there was a lawsuit with 60 Minutes that they're trying to settle. So once that's settled, that should pave the way for the sale.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, the sale is being blocked by another lawsuit with Skydance is trying to prove that, I forget the other company, does not have a legitimate bid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a nightmare all around.
Yeah.
That the Trump lawsuit with this, it's affecting, like, I was reading a little bit about this because I'm trying to figure out when is Paramount going to get their ass together.
It won't be this year, I don't think.
No, it's not going to be this year. But the Trump administration is the 60-minute lawsuit. They're kind of waiting to see what happens with that because there's been more lawsuits because the Trump administration is basically saying any news organization or outlet that says anything mean about me, you're not allowed to do that anymore.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything more about that, but but it's affecting the Paramount sale and issue, and so I've been watching that kind of closely because I've got some strong feelings I won't go into right now about the Paramount sale and how it's going to affect the future of Star Trek, because I think the future of Star Trek is on thin ice right now.
Very thin.
It feels that way. It really feels that way.
I think we are this close, very close to the Star Trek franchising disappearing. Maybe not forever, but for a long time because of the current climate in entertainment and the sale of these large companies.
Which is funny because you can argue, like, well, you've got Strange New Worlds and you've got Starfleet Academy coming, but it's becoming, they're not doing what the fans want, because like even now, like the fans keep saying Legacy, right?
Yeah,
and that's not happening. So
it looks like these companies are kind of playing it safe. They're not taking big risks like they were.
Take bold moves, but they're not going with like
in any direction. It sounds like they're in like a committee's taking over.
Well, it's the idea of, in your quest for the elusive casual fan, you're tearing away at your hardcore fans.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't have that hardcore base,
the committee's coming in going, I don't understand this Star Trek stuff. Let's broaden it. Let's generalize it. Let's not, that's what I'm keeping an eye on. So
they're not showing like how many new fans have they added in the past decade, pretty much.
Yeah.
This is the younger generations, the Zennials and the Millennials. Those are the ones you got to tap into.
Yeah. So I will make this analogy. But basically, there's a very similar thing in pro wrestling. There, for a long time, the WWE, still is the biggest game in town, right? But the fans were not happy. The hardcore fans were not happy with it. So much so that a competitor organization got together and created a whole new company called AEW. AEW was backed by another billionaire, and that thing is now the second largest promotion in the world. And it's not close. It's not close to WWE, but the fact that they went from 0 to second biggest in the world in just a few years shows that there was a desire for something different. And now all the hardcores are basically with AEW. Similarly,
kind of like
when Star Trek came out, when Star Trek rebooted it and we got Discovery and all that, we had the Orville, and the Orville filled that spot for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
It was really more of what we actually wanted. and people still are like, "Hey, when's the Orville going to come out? What's going on with it?" And then we got a little taste of it with Picard season 3, and that has had the fans like latched on, like, give us legacy. What's going on? We want that legacy.
Yep.
And so it's just enough to keep it like people want it, but if they don't do it right, they're gonna shoot their own fan base in the foot. So,
Yep.
And then people are gonna forget because that was 2 or 3 years ago.
That
Picard?
Picard.
Yep.
It's like 2 years, almost 2.5 years.
Yeah, because it's been a while. So.
It's been
a while.
And so if let's say you do Legacy, you're going to be about 5 years out.
Yeah.
Because Terry Matalas is doing the.
When it takes time to build those sets and write those scripts, like you don't just turn that on and
hire
go.
all the actors.
Yeah.
Contract them and
just ask AI to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a whole we can get a whole nother show on this, but
and like you said, AI, maybe they'll do it.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future you'll have somebody make their own shows with AI.
Maybe.
I'm telling you, within the next 10 years, I will be able to watch Star Trek Deep Space Nine, season 8, episode 1, and it'll look just like it did.
It seems like every few months there's something new with it.
Yeah.
And you're just like kind of blown away.
Yeah.
And it's like, man.
Well, if what I'd really like to see is let us with the AI, don't put any restrictions on it for personal use. That way I can watch that episode and I can watch Daniel's Star Trek number 3.
You want to see that movie?
I want to see Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock.
Search for Paddington.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Because that would be, and I think within 10 years, within 5 years, I should be able to do it. So,
yeah. I think 10 years.
One day soon, Daniel, me, you, Dan, Chazbiz, we're going to do a review on the Reyes version of Star Trek 3.
Maybe.
Or it'll be like T-Bear or.
I would take the meeting to go right for that.
The Mike Medina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely take that meeting.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, we should probably wrap it up. We've been going pretty long today.
Yeah, this is over an hour and 20 minutes. So.
Yeah. So.
Well, next week you get I guarantee you, Dan will be here next week because it's the Voyage Home.
Voyage Home.
Yeah, the good ones.
Somehow Dan will show up on the even numbers on these.
That's right.
Well, we look forward to seeing Dan, and so hit us up on all the socials, everybody. We want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to hear what you guys got to say. And we'll be back next time with the Voyage Home, the one with the whales. So
good one.
All right.
See you guys later.
Take care, everybody.
This is Captain Benjamin Sisko of Deep Space Nine and Space God to the Bajorans. I have a mission for you. This falls outside of Starfleet guidelines, so I can't order you, but I'm asking for volunteers. Volunteers who will subscribe to the Trekcast YouTube channel, leave 5-star reviews on your podcast app of choice, and share Trekcast across your social media accounts. If we can make our audience bigger, we might have a chance against the Dominion. Are you ready? Subscribe, like, and share. Are you with me?